So it's a great question. I think the main issue that we face in this area is just the enormous amount of hype. So we have lots and lots of people pushing narratives that sound good to the masses, but may not necessarily be backed by actual technical competence or, in fact, technical feasibility. They might just be selling things that will never work. That's an interesting question. Why are we here at all? We're here at all in the first place because blockchains actually constitute an enormous opportunity to rethink the way we build back-end systems. So instead of building things in the old-fashioned way with decentralized, well, not decentralized, but in the old-fashioned way with centralized databases that talk to each other, that need to be reconciled, that need to be kept in sync, we can actually now build much more efficient distributed databases that share information naturally in a seamless manner. That actually is very technical. That can turn out to be something that only impacts the back end of a bank. So that's only the enabling first step of blockchains. It is not the actual reason for why at least 80% of the audience is here. But it is nevertheless the enabling first step that we need to understand. The real thing that happens after that is what you can do on top. Now we can actually automate business processes that would otherwise have to operate by trust, and we can have them work we can have them work in a way that's auditable, that's transparent to everybody else. So what that in turn enables is transparency of a kind that we have not seen. And if I think about sort of the history of the world, I see that there were certain things that are social in nature that really enabled enormous jumps up in how we do things. One of them, of course, is written laws, going back about 5,000 years. One of the next things that is very, very crucial is the formation of corporations, sort of groups of people organized around certain ideas. What blockchains enable is the automation of processes without having to trust people. And that, I suspect, is going to be something that is as fundamental to how we do things, say, 20 years from now, as any of these other two things that I mentioned were. So, and I had to go back 5,000 years to sort of pull out two exciting sort of events. And this is, I think, something that's number 3 in that sequence of equal importance. What I think is happening is that everyone's going at it from every single angle, and research is being taken up at an immense rate. We see that any white papers we put out, even white papers we put out by accident, are being taken up and taken apart and then finding their way into actual products or actual developed artifacts. Just spontaneously. There's so much interest in this area because a lot of people realize that this is indeed going to change the way we do things. So what will happen? We will see a chaotic world of people pushing all sorts of things. It will have an enormous component of scams, people pushing things that will not work. It will have some component of people pushing sort of stolid, regular, not so exciting ideas. X, but with blockchain. I want to put gold on the blockchain. I want to put horse registries on the blockchain. I want to put, you name it, they will put it on the blockchain. And that's fine too. But where I think I see the most potential is when people start doing things that we could not even envision today. New processes, new business models emerging on the blockchain that we can't even fathom today. So I'm really excited about that future. I think we already have a very good way of evaluating business ideas. It's called the free market. So you put out your idea out there, you put out your product out there, and if the market adopts it, that's wonderful. Now, markets aren't always rational. They don't always adopt the best solution. They sometimes adopt the first solution. They sometimes do very stupid, irrational things for long periods of time. We see all of these in the cryptocurrency market. But in the long term, that's the only thing I know. I don't believe in some kind of a vetting body. I know I'm asked to evaluate things on a peer-to-peer, on a person-to-person basis. I do that, but I can't imagine some kind of a vetting authority that says this is good, this is not good. I don't think anyone's in that position, or nor should they be in that position. Yes, absolutely. I think that's what the data says. It's not something I think, it's just the data says if people were happy with the amount of decentralization in 2016, then the network at the moment is much, much, much better, by a factor of 1.7x, and we haven't taken advantage of that available extra resource that came online. Right. So one question to ask, okay, so what are the costs of increasing the blocks? So people cite the orphan problem, and the orphans arise when you have bandwidth limitations. We just talked about how that is not a problem, by a factor of 2. The other issue that people raise, as you rightfully point out, is the cost for the minimum smallest node that you can run. And so if we're going to start worrying about that, the very first thing I would demand of anybody doing development in this area is the definition for the minimum viable platform. If we don't have that, then we can't go on. So if it's all nebulous, it's kind of like playing with mercury. I sort of start questioning things and I start saying, how about this, how about that? And if you don't have a firm platform you're targeting, then there will be a non-answer, there will be a fuzzy answer, somebody answering from the gut. And engineering by gut is one of the very first things we drill out of our students in the first year of their master's studies. You can't engineer things by gut. It has to be quantitative. So it's wonderful that you're asking this question in the first place. So indeed, the costs of storage have dropped immensely. SSD storage even has dropped immensely. And so all of that tells us a very loud story that says the resources are much cheaper. The orphan issue is the bandwidth, because of the bandwidth increase, the orphan issue is much less of a problem than it used to be. Because of the drop in costs, the cost of running a node is a much smaller problem. So everything says the blocks can be increased. Even the small blockers admit that you can increase the blocks. And so in fact, our study from, not the one you mentioned, the recent one, but our study from 2015, at that time, found that an increase up to 4 megabytes would only drop off at most 5% of the nodes on the network at that time. So since then, the network has improved a lot. I mentioned an increase of 1.7x between 2016 and 2017. There was probably an increase between 2015 and 16. It's probably an increase ever since we did this study from 2017 March until now, 2018 January. So everything here tells me loud and clear that the block size can be bigger without an increase in centralization pressure. Yes, the data shows that the nodes are both in the latency space and also geographically more distributed around the world. So Ethereum nodes tend to come from all sorts of places, smaller networks, smaller ASs, homegrown entities, as opposed to Bitcoin nodes, which tend to be located in data centers. In fact, our study found that the majority of Bitcoin nodes, 56%, are in data centers. I don't know about economically what makes most sense, so that's an interesting question. But I can tell you this, that Bitcoin Cash, as currently being pushed, is much more in line with the white paper. In fact, is exactly in line with the white paper, which doesn't mention a block size, compared to the vision being pursued by BTC, Bitcoin Core. Now, Bitcoin Core's vision is interesting in some ways, from an intellectual perspective, Lightning Network, SegWit, etc. These lead to interesting artifacts, but it's nevertheless a vision that's been untested, unverified, and a vision for which no feasibility study has ever been done. And as an engineer who believes in sound reasoning and sound design, as opposed to I reached into my gut or I stroked my neck beard and came up with some parameters and came up with a vision, it rubs me the wrong way that everyone's betting the farm on a vision that's going to end up requiring a new payment network to emerge, a credit graph to be built. And do we know the capacity of that graph? How much do you think you'll be able to send from one arbitrary point on the Lightning Network to another arbitrary point? We don't know. And there exist some fundamental problems. The keys have to be online. The nodes have to be connected fully, and they have to watch the blockchain like a hawk, or worse, they have to contract with someone who watches the blockchain like a hawk on their behalf. And of course there is the fundamental problem with routing in Lightning. So routing, and efficient routing, is in stark contrast with privacy. To do routing efficiently, I need to know the credit relationships between individuals on the Lightning Network. If I know that, well then I know when you have paid somebody else, for example. And that violates your financial privacy, the node's financial privacy. So I don't see that tension getting resolved, and if you talk to people who are actually working on routing on Lightning, they will tell you this is going to take about 10 years. And indeed, it will probably take at least that many years, I know that on the internet, for example, routing does not have a single optimal solution. There are lots of different strategies. None of them pleases everybody. And I think the same is going to be true here. So that vision has a lot of question marks associated with it. Absolutely. So this is not something that I talked about today, but SGX is a very exciting technology, and there are other trusted computing technologies, not SGX, but by other vendors that provide similar guarantees. What that gives you is the ability to know what protocol somebody else is following. So that is a fundamental leap. If you compare that to the current state of affairs, the way we build, say, the Bitcoin network, is nobody assumes anything about anybody else. And it's all supremely conservative as a result. It has to be. And it has to follow the path that is most resistant to attack, which typically is the least performant path. So if instead I know what you can and cannot do, if I know that you cannot behave in what we call a Byzantine manner, then I know that I don't have to actually compensate. I don't have to sort of hold myself back to compensate for the crazy behaviors you might engage in. So that gives us that big performance boost. So absolutely, trusted computing of different kinds, or the trusted execution environments of different kinds can really help boost the performance of cryptocurrencies. SGX can really lead to much better blockchains. Absolutely, and that's our goal. So the vision for this company is to act as the infrastructure provider for other people who want to build more exciting, different consensus layers and smart contract layers on top. The network layer of blockchains has been ignored by many, and that's where a lot of the performance lies. So a lot of the current protocols that we see, certainly the Bitcoin protocol, certainly Ethereum as it stands right now, do not take advantage of what could be done much better at the network layer. So we're going to elevate that with Bloxroute, and by doing so, we just unleash many higher transactions per second for the blockchain itself that runs on top.